I am Patty McCoy, and I'm going to be calling the meeting to order. We would like to start our meeting tonight with a moment of silence. The district has lost a bus driver. Wayne Parent has been a bus driver for many, many years, and he passed during the weekend, so we'd like to have a moment of silence. Okay, thank you so much for coming. I am Patty McCoy, and I would like to welcome everyone who is here in person or watching us live, or if they're watching us at a later time, or listening on 88.1, our student radio station. We appreciate you engaging with us. I would like to have my fellow board members introduce themselves. We will start down here with Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, Sean Wilson.
Hello, Lauren Christensen. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. This is Anupam Chugsadhu. Welcome.
Good evening, Patrick Kehoe. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Ooh, that didn't work. Superintendent Merritt, would you like to introduce yourself and your staff, please?
Good evening and welcome this evening. I'd like to begin by introducing my assistant, Ms. Diane Robertson, and I want to thank her for taking our minutes each board meeting. She does such a fabulous job of capturing these minutes for our families that cannot be here. I would like to ask the remaining members of my staff to introduce themselves to you, beginning with Ms. Piaz.
Thank you. Debbie Piaz, Chief Finance and Operations Officer. Welcome.
Liz Vartanian-Gibbs, Human Resources. Welcome.
Good evening, Kurt Tiskowitz, Executive Director of Student Services.
All right, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, we are on letter A, adoption of agenda, approval of consent agenda. I am looking for a motion for action item 220910.
Madam President, I move that we adopt the agenda, approve the consent agenda, action item number 22-09-10.
Thank you. I'm looking for a second.
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 All right, it's been moved by member Sidhu and seconded by member Christensen. Could you take us through it, please, Superintendent Merritt?
Yes, thank you, President McCoy. This evening, our consent agenda consists of human resources transactions since our last time together. Dr. Vartanian-Gibbs and team have been busy hiring champions, so we have new hires for your consideration. We also have a resolution for the Executive Director of Specialized Services, the accounting supervisor, as well as the purchasing coordinator. We also have leaves and resignations and tenure recommendations for your consideration this evening. We have the approval of minutes from our regular meeting on September the 14th as well for your consideration.
All right, I am looking for a vote. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. All right, passes 5-0. Dr. Vartanian-Gibbs.
Good evening. I have the honor first to introduce you to 6 new teachers in our district and also a school nurse. So when I call your name, if you could please stand up. Erin Carlasso. Erin is going to be working at Allen School. She is our new early on service provider, and she comes to us with a bachelor's degree from University of Michigan. Gina Nino. Gina is our new school nurse. She will be working at Workman and Liberty. She comes to us with a bachelor's degree from Grand Valley State University, a master's from Wayne State University, and 1.5 years as a pediatric nurse. Alexandra Ochoa. Alexandra is going to be our new chemistry teacher at Plymouth High School, a bachelor's degree from Hope College, a master's degree from Wayne State University, and 6 years teaching experience. Laura O'Neill. Laura is a new classroom teacher at Hoban School with a bachelor's degree from Eastern Michigan University and 2 years teaching experience. Elizabeth Rodriguez. Elizabeth is our new math teacher at Discovery Middle School. She comes with a bachelor's degree from University of Texas, a master's degree from Wayne State University, in teaching experience at Advanced Technology Academy. Paige Valu. Paige is our new elementary ASD teacher at Dotson. She comes with 5 years of experience with a bachelor's degree from Liberty University in Virginia and a master's degree at Ball State, Indiana. So welcome. We are so thankful that you have selected Plymouth Canton Community Schools as your next career choice. Thank you. This evening, I would like to introduce you to Miss Tracy Johnson. Tracy is being recommended as the Executive Director of Specialized Services. Tracy comes with a bachelor's degree from Wayne State University with a major in special education. She also has a master's degree from Wayne State in educational leadership, and she is in the doctoral program and is completing her doctorate of education right now at Wayne State University with a focus on educational leadership, policy studies, and organizational skills. Ms. Johnson has been a teacher, a special education supervisor, a transition coordinator, and recently she's leaving Ann Arbor Public Schools as the Assistant Director of Student Intervention and Support Services. Welcome, Tracy. Come on up.
Thank you, Liz, for that introduction. To the board and to the community, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited about the new role and how much fun we'll have here together. So thank you, and I'm excited, and I can't wait for my first day.
Next, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Stephen LeBlanc. He is being recommended as the accounting supervisor at Plymouth Canton Community Schools. He has a bachelor's of business administration from the University of Michigan, Dearborn, and he has been an accountant in 2 school districts. Welcome, Stephen. Next, I would like to introduce you to Miss Konitra Tinsbee. She is being recommended as the purchasing coordinator at Plymouth Canton Community Schools. Konitra comes with a Bachelor's of Arts from Baker College, a Master's of Business from the University of Phoenix. She has held the following roles: a manager, a project analysis, and most recently, health and safety coordinator. Welcome. So congratulations to Tracy, Stephen, and Konitra. We are looking forward to working with all of you, and the 3 of you will all be at the board office with us next week, so it's going to be a very exciting week. Okay, next, I am very fortunate to introduce you to 2 teachers, Jessica Fletcher. I'm not sure if Jessica's here. She's at home probably correcting papers, and Leah Walker. Both of these fine teachers are receiving tenure this evening. That means they have completed 5 successful years of teaching in our district. Jessica is a teacher at Bentley School, and this is what Jan Douglas has said about Jessica. Jan is the principal at Bentley. It is with great pleasure that I recommend Jessica Fletcher for tenure. Ms. Fletcher is a teacher leader who works collaboratively with colleagues and families to support the growth of all of her students. She is dedicated to understanding and implementing culturally responsive instructional practices. In doing so, she prioritizes student voice when building a classroom community where students feel valued and connected. Furthermore, she has taken on many roles beyond the classroom, serving on district curriculum committees, the school improvement team, and as the co-chair of the Bentley Equity Team. I am confident that Jessica will continue to serve as an integral part of our Bentley school community. Congratulations, Jessica. Next, Leah Walker is a resource room teacher at Smith Elementary School. And this is what Lisa Rodell, the principal, has shared regarding Leah. I recommend Leah Walker for tenure. Leah is a hardworking and dedicated teacher for Smith Elementary. Leah goes above and beyond to support her students along with assisting their parents throughout the special education process. Throughout the pandemic, Leah has been a steadfast and calming force for our staff, for students, and all whom she encounters. Leah plays an important role in our MTSS process, always listening to others and offering suggestions, interventions, and/or outside-the-box problem-solving solutions. We feel very fortunate to have Leah on our Smith team. Congratulations to Jessica and Leah for receiving tenure in our district. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. I'm very happy that you've chosen the district. We are now on to letter B, which is celebrating success. And it is members to do.
Thank you, President McCoy. It is my privilege to be honoring one of our own teachers tonight. So celebrating success this evening, we will honor Workman Elementary School teacher Nancy Vojtovich. Ms. Nancy Vojtovich was nominated for this award by student Zach Patterson for the way that she has inspired not just Zach, but countless other students during her time with P-CCS. Ms. Vojtovich, please join us at the podium. First of all, am I saying your name correctly? It's Vojtovich. Okay, thank you. Zach was not able to join us this evening, but he prepared some words about Ms. Vojtovich that I'm honored to share with you right now. So this is from Zach. Ms. Vojtovich was my 5th grade teacher in the virtual academy, and she had an undeniable impact in my life. In the beginning of the school year, Ms. Vojtovich taught our class about the 9/11 tragedy and one man in particular who was a brave hero. There was a man that wore a red bandana who saved many lives during this tragic event and gave his life while doing so. As a reminder to be brave and to give to others, Mrs. Vojtovich sent all of her students a red bandana in the mail. Since then, she has helped me and all of the other students with our many needs throughout the school year. In the beginning of the year, she warmly welcomed us and with a handful of Tonda kids into the mostly workman classroom. She eased our nerves about being with a new group of students, now our friends, down to a quick 0. She helped us get back into being in the school for full days and get used to online learning. She is a kind, smart, and helpful teacher who's always available to listen to our concerns, problems, and to help you through them. She has helped me with many struggles that I've had, and she's really helped me prepare for middle school this year. She has taught me skills to help myself stay strong and be brave, and I learned to voice myself politely. Ms. Vojtovich is my red bandana. I got chills when I read that. Such incredible words from Zach. Zach, thank you for those amazing words that you were able to send in. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to present Nancy Vojtovich the Mary Beth Carroll Extra Miler Award tonight for her inspiring and creative work with all of the students every day. Would you like to say a few words?
I just want to thank everybody for this. It was an incredible journey with our virtual students, and one that I wasn't sure how it would go. But they did amazing. They are great students. We have wonderful students here, and without their amazing tenacity to learn through all of this pandemic, we wouldn't be where we are. So it was amazing to teach Zach. He's a wonderful boy, and he touched my heart as well as my touching his. But thank you to everybody up here as well.
Thank you for all that you do. So on behalf of the Board of Education, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we are on to C, which is Board Committee Reports and Actions. First up is the President's Report. School is in full swing. And we have, just as a reminder, High Impact School Governance Workshop on Thursday at 6:30 at the board office. The agenda went out in board notes last Friday. If you can't find it, let me know, I can get you another one. Also remember, we are coming up on to having to do our board goals, so start thinking about what you might want to do for board goals. And as soon as the dynamic plan is done, we will start working on those. The dynamic plan will be presented to the board shortly, and we will get that going. And that is just about it for me. Superintendent Merritt. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm completely skipping over everybody's reports. Member Sadoo, Student Performance and Achievement.
Thank you, President McCoy. The Student Performance and Achievement Committee met September 15th. And speaking of the dynamic plan, we actually spent quite a bit of time looking at strategic objectives and action plans, particularly looking at curriculum and instruction. And the other piece that we discussed in quite detail was the virtual academy update. Ms. Rail shared the data on enrollments and the change in curriculum for the high school curriculum, which was great news to hear that the high school virtual academy will be utilizing Plymouth Canton's own curriculum for this year. And another thing we talked about was increasing family and community engagement. And we're looking at doing this through a professional that has built a framework on how this can be done at a school district level. So we'll continue to explore that option for us as a board. And our next committee meeting is on October 6th. It will be at 5 o'clock at the board office. And I just want to clarify to the board and to the public, at the last meeting, I said we would have a meeting of the whole on October 6th. We have actually changed that to be a regular SPA meeting because we will actually do a work session with the whole board around the dynamic plan. So the reason for the committee of the whole was so we could actually dive in as a whole to look at the dynamic plan. But we're going to do that during one of our board meeting nights. So after we do our business meeting, we will adjourn that and we will actually dive into a work session around that. So any questions around that? Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you. So next up is policy. We met tonight, and we actually got a lot done. We were using the wrong clock, so we had to recess before so that we could get here. We finished up with educational and racial equity policy, which will be coming to the board next time. Also naming new facilities, renaming existing facilities. We finished up that policy. That will also be coming to the board. And care of students with chronic conditions will also be coming to the board. And then we discussed making our agenda bylaws a bit clearer, and also public participation at board meetings. Also adding some clarifying language to our bylaws just to make it clearer to the public what those things are and what their avenues for participation are. And the rest of our agenda we'll move on to next time. Our next meeting is going to be October 26th at 5:30, which is right before a board meeting, and of course, everyone is welcome to attend. Member Kehoe, Finance and Operations.
Thank you. We met at the Finance and Operations meeting last Thursday, September 23rd at 5 p.m. at the board office, and we had a long conversation about our custodian process and the work that they're doing to try to address their hiring. They shared with us how they brought in their critical care team to help them to do community outreach and to try to increase the pool of applicants that they can bring in to support this. And they shared with us a number of other creative ideas that they're doing to try to address the hiring challenges that they're having. They will be meeting with us again at our next F&O meeting, which is on Thursday, October 7th at 5 p.m. also at the board office. Last week, we also discussed two things that will be on the agenda this evening, upgrades and repairs for air handlers and chillers at Plymouth and Salem High School, respectively. And we got a draft review of our financial statements through the fiscal year ended of through June 30th. We will see those in an upcoming board meeting here when they're finalized with the accounting firm.
All right, Thank you. So now we are on to D, which is administrative reports, recommendations. Superintendent Merritt, you are up first.
Thank you, President McCoy. I just want to take an opportunity to share in an exciting day for us here at P-CCS, where we had an opportunity to showcase our students on the national spotlight with a visit from the U.S. Secretary of Education, Dr. Cardona. I have to tell you, first of all, as the lead educator for our country, what an amazing student-centered leader Dr. Cardona was or is. He jumped right in with our students on his visit to Plymouth High School last Friday. Was just so impressed with our students, their excitement about being back in school, following their mitigation plans. He participated in the school store. Student said, "Hey, can I take your picture?" He said, "Come on, guys, it's selfie time." And he had, just truly engaging with the kids. The music was on. He actually was taking a survey of the students. What do you like better, Cheez-Its or Cheetos? Or whatever they were selling in the school store. He worked the register and helped to pass out cookies. Moved, and he had an opportunity to visit these students, our award-winning band students, as they performed for him. He moved into Janet Sutherland's video production class and took the time to really engage with the students, sharing some students that were in the editing room and really giving him some practical experiences on how that is utilized in his own office, and just made some really great introductions and having those conversations with students. Moved finally into Scott Milam's class and did an experiment that ended up on the front page, I think, of Hometown Life, where I was nervous myself as they had the gas and catching the secretary's hand on fire. I just thought, please let this not be a tragic ending to the day. But he was all in. I think his security team may have been a little nervous at that time, but he was right there because it was good for kids and it was all about learning. I really will say that his focus right now is really on returning students to in-person learning safely and focusing on social and emotional health of students. He was so impressed with the work that we're doing. I do want to thank the Board of Education for the investment in our additional social emotional supports, our nurses, our counselors, our social workers. It's really making a difference. I want to thank our high school team for really coming together to create this social emotional learning block for students. That's something we were able to share with them, redoing the schedule so that students have an opportunity 2 days a week to really check in with their person. We'll call it their person at the park. And so it was really nice to just have that opportunity. He was very impressed with just the students' attitudes, the positivity about being back in the staff. I need to give a special shout out to Principal Sherry Steckel, who worked around the clock to make this visit happen. With all that has gone on at the start of school, with all of our administrators and staff, our teachers wearing multiple hats to just keep our doors open, just utilizing this time to ready for this visit. Also, Director Josh Meyer, Mr. Nick Brandon, Mr. Frank Ruggiero, our own sweet Diane Robertson. The plans change for a security detail. You have to imagine such an important figure coming in. So there's so many meetings, but everybody just rolling up their sleeves to just make sure that this event went on without a hitch. Eric Kolke at the park with security stepped right in. Rich Welch, literally assisting as we're down, as you just heard Trustee Kehoe talk about our cleaning staff. Rich was right in there actually helping to do that work as well. Tim G, just all hands on deck. Debbie P, just appreciating everybody coming together again to with the logistics and planning to really allow our school and our students to shine. And I will say, from the perspective of our students, they felt so valued and appreciated, and that this important person spent time in their day to come and visit them and engage in their learning environment. So it was just incredible, and I think it was refreshing, and it was just a constant reminder of why we are here, and just a spotlight on where we're going to go as we continue to provide bold and innovative opportunities for our students. I just wanted to share that experience. It was really great. Just wanted to give a brief transportation update. As we've been talking, I know we continued to talk at the last meeting, the frustration that is around with our staff shortages. Currently, Durham Service has approximately 91 school bus drivers. They're covering 108 routes. They're short 17 drivers, so this includes the 10 routes that have been suspended, as well as our substitute drivers, which of course creates stress when we have a person who calls in sick, for example. We don't have a sub-driver, so we have to cancel that route. We have Kelly Spalding. I have to say hats off to her. She is literally driving a bus every day, and 3 other of her staff members from the office are driving buses. Everybody's just coming together, trying to make sure that we can try to provide services, but it is stressful, we know, for our families. We know that currently we have 5 bus drivers, and Ms. Piaz, help me if I mess this up, that are in the pipeline, with 2 additional bus drivers that are testing right now. 3 fully credentialed drivers are in the process of background checks. They did send an updated communication to our families that are impacted by these canceled routes, to just know that we expect that Durham will be staffed fully within the next few weeks. It's a positive sign that they've seen an uptick in applications. 21 in-person interviews and 16 phone interviews have taken place in the last week, so they will continue to interview and vet candidates throughout the weekend. 102 applications were received since August the 27th, so this is definitely a challenge, I will say for sure, but working around the clock to ensure that we try to recruit and hire a team. And when we talk about this recruiting, it's going on in every aspect of our district. We have openings, paraprofessional openings, secretariat, security openings, food service openings, custodial openings, as you've heard shared a little bit earlier. I know our Human Resources Department has been working to try to do some recruitment and talking about maybe some innovative ways to get some virtual job fairs going, some on-site visitation at schools to just really get the word out. And I'll continue to be on the positive side that P-CCS is a great place to work. People move here and they work here, they stay here, they raise their children here. And we're doing everything in our power to make sure that we can communicate those openings and encourage people to join our team. And when we talk about the earlier story that I shared, our kids are the best. And our opportunities that we provide for students, our district, it's a true community, the Plymouth Canton Community Schools. When I say to you that there is not a person who has not worn multiple hats to ensure that we are able to keep our doors open for in-person learning, I need to tell you today that I am grateful, forever grateful for our entire staff. People are exhausted. It feels like it's summer and we're only in the first month of school, but they don't let that impact children. Our students are coming to school every day happy and eager to be here, and our staff is showing up. Our staff is assisting in cleaning. We're trying to put together some additional stipends for extra duty after school. Our staff is assisting with supervision, with bus, before school, after school, extracurricular activities, doing whatever it takes. And I just want every staff member to know that it does not go unrecognized. And I need our community to know that our number one goal, as we said, is to keep our doors open for 5 full days of instruction. And it takes this village to make it happen. So I want to thank and acknowledge everyone for their part. Finally, I'll end today with just announcing we have a virtual town hall on our diversity, equity, and inclusion work. This is taking place on Tuesday, October the 5th, from 4:30 to 6 p.m. The event will be broadcast via the P-CCS official YouTube channel, and it's also going to be archived on the channel for future viewing as well. This will be co-moderated by the district's Curriculum and Human Resources Department. The town hall will create an opportunity for district leadership to address questions and feedback directly from the community regarding topics that surround the district's diversity, equity, and inclusion work. If you'd like to submit questions or feedback to be addressed during the town hall, you'll be able to find an online form via the official P-CCS website starting Wednesday morning, that's tomorrow, September the 29th. This form will close on Sunday evening, October 3rd at 7 p.m. You can find the P-CCS official YouTube channel on the homepage of the official district website or by simply searching P-CCS official on YouTube.
All right, thank you very much. A lot going on. So next up we have teaching and learning. And I'm just going to say that's going to be Anthony Ruella.
That's right. I'm pinch hitting tonight. So thank you, Ms. McCoy and the board. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to represent Ms. Rail and the teaching and learning team and share an overview of the amazing things that occurred in the district this summer. As the department planned what would become an unprecedented volume of program offerings, we identified a number of challenges that we knew had to be addressed. In addition to the obvious need to attend to students' interrupted and unfinished learning, we really wanted to support students' social emotional learning and mental wellness by providing programming that engaged students by offering choices in content and incorporating their voice in their academic and creative outputs. This slide lists 10 of the programs I will be highlighting this evening. And just as an overview, these 10 programs were facilitated by 182 teachers and 84 support staff and served over 2,700 students. That's an incredible achievement considering that it occurred in the middle of a global pandemic. As we look a little deeper in our offerings, we start with our academic and enrichment camps that serve students in grades K through 12 and ran from June 21st through August 20th. These high-interest engaging opportunities serve 548 students over 52 different camp sessions, such as STEM explorations, esports, African American literature, and foundations in personal finance. Students and staff all reported, as well as families, high levels of satisfaction with these programs. This is the second year that we've offered the Algebra Jumpstart program, again to great success. This program ran from the end of June through the end of July, and this summer, all 33 of the enrolled rising ninth graders, all of whom had demonstrated a history of math difficulty, started their high school career by earning a half credit in math by successfully completing this summer course. And not only did they earn this half a credit for their efforts, but they also have a stronger pre-algebraic foundation now, which sets them up for success in ninth grade Algebra 1. Our book club program, new to us this summer, ran from July 12th through August 20th. And it had a tremendously high level of participation. 426 students in grades 6 through 12 participated. Students participated in a 3-week-long experience facilitated by a teacher at their grade level. And not only was it ELA teachers, but teachers from other content areas led their expertise in facilitating these groups. Students were given the opportunity to choose the book that they wanted to explore, and they met virtually to discuss the book's content, as well as reflect on the reading strategies that they used along the way. Again, like the other program, high rates of satisfaction were reported by families, staff, and students. Our center-based ASD program for students with autism spectrum disorder is a center-based program that Julie Woodhams has presented about in front of you before, that serves as an extended year program for students who are in our center-based autism spectrum disorder program, and again, ran the summer as it has in the past. This year, 32 students spent this time working on their IEP goals to maintain their skills and minimize summer learning loss. New to our ASD offering this year was our camp for students with autism. This offering was a supplement to the extended school year program. Invitations were sent out to all of the students in the ASD center-based program, and 29 of the students attended to work with our staff in an effort to improve their language and social skills. Interesting enough, of the 39 students that attended the extended school year program I just mentioned, 22 also attended this camp opportunity. So it wasn't in place of, but also in addition to the extended school year opportunity, which is just awesome. When we look at credit advancement, this is our high school program that we use annually. And the credit advancement program ran from June 4th through August 14th. And this is where students take a course for the first time over the summer to open up room primarily in their high school schedule so that during their in-person high school years, during the regular school year, they could take other classes that they're interested in. So for credit advancement, we had 253 students enrolled in 399 different courses, and 97% of students were successful in earning the credit that they signed up for. The next portion of our high school summer program was our credit recovery program that ran from June 21st through July 22nd. Our high school credit recovery program, which again we run every year, is geared towards students who did not earn credit in a particular course or courses during the school year and are seeking to recover that credit during the summer. For credit recovery, we had 765 students enroll in 1,296 different courses. Well, not different courses, but 1,296 courses, with 83% of these students demonstrating success in recovering that credit. Something new this year that we were able to do was our credit recovery extension. Say that one 5 times fast with a mask on. That ran at the end of our credit recovery session, and our credit recovery summer school. And the credit recovery extension was an extension of the credit recovery window to support students who needed extra time to complete their virtual credit recovery classes. So this wasn't for in-person credit recovery, this is for our virtual credit recovery classes. In addition, this is an interesting thing that Mr. Blaylock and I were talking about, is that in addition to students who just needed extra time, there were some additional students who unfortunately had been a little bit behind in their credits, and what they were able to do is with this extension window, they were able to take additional courses and again, acquire additional credit and move towards graduation. Another program that should be familiar to the board and the community is our elementary and middle school summer academy. In Summer Academy, we serve 206 rising 1st through 8th graders. Our elementary students participated in interdisciplinary STEM-based units, while our middle schoolers participated in high-interest literature units and differentiated math groups. In addition, we were fortunate enough to have a team of mental health service providers push into classrooms to help students develop their social and emotional competencies. Again, like our other programs, we've received very positive feedback from families and staff on this program. And in our surveying of our students, the vast majority of students reported feeling at the end of the program better able to learn the hardest work that they would encounter in the upcoming school year. Like the Summer Academy, our EL Jumpstart program is another annual offering that we run. This year, the focus for EL Jumpstart was on our newcomer students. So the students who are at the entering stage of their English language proficiency. And you can see that in grades K through 5, we actually ran 2-week rotations so that we can serve more students because we had more newcomers in that grade band. Whereas in grades 6 through 8, we ran a 4-week program because we had fewer students in that grade band. The biggest focus of this program was on oral language development for the 65 students that participated. So the next piece is not really a standalone program, but I really want to highlight this because it's a collaboration between our ELD teachers and our instructional coaches. So because of the high need in grades K through 5, knowing that we were focusing in grades K through 5 on just the newcomers, we wanted to make sure that we were appropriately servicing students who were English learners that were attending the our regular summer academy. So because this need to do this, our ELD teachers, a group of ELD teachers and coaches work together to amplify the existing STEM units that were used in our elementary summer academy. And to do this, they use Goldie Muhammad's historically responsive literacy framework in the focus areas that you see there, right? Really looking at those specific questions, to capture those areas of identity, skills, intellect, criticality, and joy. So it was just some great collaborative work by our staff. Highlighting our high school students again, the Greatness Camp was again offered this summer. In Greatness Camp that ran July 21st through August 5th, we had 24 rising 9th through 12th graders participate in virtual and in-person experiences that were designed to support their students' academic skills, while alongside that, developing those self-management skills that they need for long-term success in their post-secondary lives, whether they choose college and career. And a final new program this summer was our K-5 tutoring program. So students who participated or were invited to participate in this K-5 tutoring program that ran from July 12th through August 13th were found eligible for this program and invited based upon NWA scores that put them in the 10th percentile, so that lowest 10% of performance in either math and or language arts. So in the end, 121 students participated in this high dosage program designed for intensive intervention and instruction. So students participated in 10 one-hour-long, one-to-one tutoring session over the course of 5 weeks. So that's a pretty intense time for our youngest learners to really engage in some one-on-one direct instruction with our staff. As if the programs themselves weren't enough, a real source of pride for the teaching and learning team is that throughout all of our academic programs, we were intentional about embedding supports to meet the broad spectrum of academic, social, emotional, and language needs of our students. Being able to meet the needs of all students is a core value for the teaching and learning team, and we're really proud about the breadth that we were able to work with our staffs and make sure we could actionize this summer. And as I wrap things up, I want to take us back to the beginning where I stated that our summer learning opportunities met the needs of over 2,700 students. But really, that's not even all of the work that was done. At the elementary level, the Summer Fun Learning Calendar provided resources and activities for families to support students' learning while they were at home. And then at the middle and high schools, the Web and Link Crew programs welcomed 6th and 9th graders respectively into their new learning communities. These programs served well over another 2,000 students as a jumpstart into the school year. And there were even more programs such as the IB Extended Essay Support, where 60 students engaged in that mentorship by IB teachers at the park that engaged our students in summer learning. So looking back, P-CCS as a educational community really has a lot to be proud of. At the end of an incredible challenging year for our families, students, and staff, our community members chose to keep the learning alive and to grow alongside each other, and we really need to be proud of that work and the effort and the community that all came together to support our students. So thank you all, and with that, I'll take any questions and I'll do my best to answer.
Member Sidhu?
Thank you. Thanks for sharing all of this great information. I am thoroughly impressed by the staff and the students in the community for doing such great work. After such a long year, it's incredible that you all pulled this together on behalf of our kids. So thank you for doing all of that. And everyone, and I want to thank everyone, Superintendent Mayor, on your team, including the bus drivers, everyone that played a huge role in this. I don't have any deep questions. I just would like a little bit clarification on slide 9 and 10. If you could just repeat the difference between credit recovery and the credit recovery extension. I missed how those are different.
So they're not really different per se. So think about the credit recovery extension just as being an extension of the deadlines. So one of the flexibilities that we had with online courses through Edgenuity is the fact that we could extend those deadlines for students that hadn't completed their coursework. So when we did that, we also realized, you know what, students who had the space and had the bandwidth and the time could also use that time in that extended window to enroll in additional courses so that they could recover more credits during the summer. So it's not different, but it really just focused only on the online portions because we had some more flexibility with that.
Great. Thank you for doing that for kids, too.
That's the Hal Hurd and Jay Blaylock and his high school team. So
Excellent
I'll
work.
pass that on to them.
Yes, excellent work. Thank you. That's all I have.
Member Wilson.
Yep, fantastic presentation, thank you. Couple of quick questions. So when I look back at what we were seeking to address, that slide, and I remember we had a lot of conversation about that going into the summer, which I think was fantastic. How would you summarize some of the outcomes that we're seeking to address, right? And how do we know that we help to move the needle on some of the things like unfinished learning, and I could kind of see that one because I saw, you know, a lot of stats as far as like 68% of youth, you know, completed, courses, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the other ones, student enrollment, you know, how do we know that we were able to help move the needle on that, or even student voice? So I did see that we did a survey around recovery, credit recovery, I believe, but did we do student survey across, all of the programs, and we just selected to kind of highlight that one? So those are kind of a couple of my questions. Student enrollment, student voice, unfinished learning, and then did we survey across all programs?
Yep, so starting with the piece about student enrollment, really until Count Day, we won't know the impact, right? So once Count Day rolls around, we'll have an idea what student enrollment is. I think it'd be hard to tease out in terms of the impact of any one specific program, but I think what it demonstrates to our community is our commitment to our students. And as we demonstrate to our community the commitment to our students and student-centered experiences, then P-CCS, they will know that we're the place that they should be choosing. In terms of opportunities to enhance student voice and choice, right, that's going to be programmatic specific. So if you look at the opportunities in the summer enrichment, right, the 52 different programs that students had the opportunity to choose if they were going to participate in that, right? And then when they got there, so many of those programs, just in terms of the pedagogy that the staff were using, really had students out in front, where students were owning their learning, right? And that's what student voice is about, right? So you vote with your feet, and many of our programs had waiting lists because, right, there's only so much time and only so many seats, and we were using COVID mitigation strategies, right? So the fact that there were waiting lists shows that our students were engaged and they wanted what we were offering. So that's an example of some voice and choice there. And our summer programmings, really just the way that they're created in terms of student-centered learning activities and project-based learning, right? Those are all, like, in the pedagogy itself, that's elevating student voice and student choice. In terms of all of the surveys, I can't speak to every specific program and how they survey students, but I do know in the middle school summer academy, we do social emotional kind of survey with students, and that's already highlighted, right? They're increased, and that's one of the purposes of the program, is to help students increase their academic self-efficacy, right? Their belief in themselves as a learner. So that was I can speak to that program specifically, but I can't speak to them all. And then really that piece of unfinished learning, I think you'd ask any educator that it's really the long-term piece, right? If in a summer program, in an enhanced learning activity or experience, right, you're building that motivation, right? It's like when Jim Collins talks about that flywheel, right? That first turn is really slow and really hard. But once you get that momentum, right, then you'll see 3, 4, 5 years along. So, right, if we think about our current 6th graders, it was when they were in 3rd grade that they had their last quote-unquote normal year, right? So that these first turns with that flywheel is going to be real tough. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to bring the whole community like we had together this summer. So we might not see some drastic improvement in, this fall's NWAs or, in the winter. But what does it look like 3, 4, 5 years down the road where can we look back and say, yeah, you know what? Our students, our staff, our community experienced a global pandemic. And, in 2025, 27, 2028, those students that lived through it as elementary students, they are just as successful as students that never lived, and perhaps even more. So in terms of how will we know, I think there's nothing in learning that's a short-term piece, right? It's a long piece. So we'll know down the road by talking to our students, talking to our families, and seeing what those outcomes are.
So just a real quick follow-up to that. So I think that's a great analogy, the flywheel, Jim Collins. So what's our strategy to basically, because you could feel the momentum, you could feel the positivity from the summer programming, you could feel, all of that great stuff. So what's our strategy to keep the momentum going based off the summer, the success of the summer?
Well, I think the strategy is to continue to support our students and our teachers and our families with what they need. And
But I mean specifically, are we taking any of these core programs and are they rolling over? I mean, not core programs, but some of these programs, are we taking them, some of the best practices, anything like that?
So, right, we're not at a point where we've sat down as a team and I could say, yes, we've looked at every single one of these programs and we've done a cost-benefit analysis and we said, hey, we're going to keep this and we're going to throw this out. No, we haven't done that yet. Like,
Okay.
We've really been focused on supporting our buildings as we start the school year.
Yep.
So that's part of the work of teaching and learning, seeing what almost prioritizing really where we got the best bang for our buck for and what serves our students and our community the best, and then how does that fit in our core values, in our strategic objectives, both in the long term, but even the short term, right? Like what can we accomplish next summer, and why do we want to accomplish it? Really, first, why do we want to accomplish it, and then what are we able to do? So those are the next steps, and we're just not there yet.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Member Christensen.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for the presentation, really thorough. It's exciting to see what we've been up to all summer long, and, just even being out, in the schoolyard with my kids getting back to school, you could just feel that excitement rolling over into the school year. But along some of the lines of Member Wilson's questioning, thinking about, kind of sparked something with me. You're thinking about summer 2022. I know that you still need to analyze, the success of each class, and obviously we need, the funding mechanism, obviously to support this expanded summer programming. I certainly do hope that we can continue to offer that for our students and families at P-CCS. My question really is, I guess it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. Just thinking about our families planning ahead for the following summer. Oftentimes we're getting information from different summer camps, other summer activities, and seeing and hearing and learning about all the great things that we're doing here. I'd love to see us get out ahead a little bit earlier, thinking, in May, highlighting some of these programs so that families can plan when they're going to slot these into the summer schedule for their students and really capitalize on what we have to offer. So thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome, and thank you for that. I'll bring it back to the team.
Okay, great.
Member Kehoe.
So I want to echo my other board members in thanking you for the presentation. It was really exciting to see the depth and breadth of the programs that happened over the summer and the amount of engagement that we had with families and students throughout the process. I do have a couple of follow-on questions that were asked by my other board members here on the question on the extended credit recovery. I didn't quite understand some of the math and the numbers there in those slides. You know, I understand the concept, and thank you, Anupam, for asking that question, because that was my first question that I had. But when I look at the statistics on the extended recovery, it said 248 students enrolled in 293 courses. Was the credit recovery statistics of 768 enrolled in 1,296 courses cumulative across the recovery as well, the extended recovery? Because specifically the thing that I'm looking at is that 637 out of 765 earned credit. And it seems like when we look at the evaluation on the credit recovery extension, there's 169 of 248. So I'm just trying to understand what the math is between those things. And it may be that I'm in the weeds and I'm just getting lost in the math there, but I don't know if you...
I prepared for this.
Okay.
I knew you were going to ask. So I actually called Mr. LeBlanc today, and he did say, like, there is some overlap between students.
Okay.
In between the two. So
Okay.
that math discrepancy that you're seeing is that bit of overlap, because remember, some of them were just Edgenuity courses online, right? And some students were in both places.
Perfect. So my reputation precedes me, and thank you for having the details.
Oh, Mr. Kehoe, you know I'm coming prepared for you.
Thank you, sir. So my next question was really on the conversation that Lauren and Sean had on the momentum. And I think that there was some really great momentum that you described in the process, but I'm wondering how we can bring some of those programs forward even in the school year, not waiting until next year. You know, there was some great camps and enrichment programs that we did to bring new activities in really short form to people in that process without having to take a whole semester and get them exposed to new ideas and new technologies. Even Ms. Rails taught one of those on the AR/VR technologies and how that can work. Is there ways that we can do that either through clubs or extracurricular activities or other processes that we can bring those kinds of summer programming in throughout the school year? And I recognize how busy everybody is in the full school year, but those momentary opportunities to learn about something new can open up channels and opportunities for people that they might not discover and without going through a full semester class.
And there many of the summer opportunities do actually exist in clubs or are extensions of curricular activities that are already going on.
Okay.
So you'd have to identify specific ones to say, yes, this is a hole in what we're doing, or this is something that we're exploring for later on. But there is actually a lot of overlap that currently exists.
And towards that same end, is credit recovery available during the school year as well? In other words, can students, especially, you mentioned these virtual programs that are there.
Yeah.
It seems like if a student was struggling with something last year and couldn't, for whatever reason, take a summer program, that they could take something in the beginning of the school year to try to recover that credit without having to extend their academic career by another year.
Right. So I can't speak with the level of detail that Mr. Hurd or Mr. Blaylock would be able to, but we have during the school year a fast track program which uses Edgenuity, and students are able to enroll in that as credit recovery.
Okay, great. And then the last thing that I had was I was excited about some of the tutoring programs that you did and the opportunity to support students as part of that process. Again, I know that there's some things that happen through the NJHS, the Honor Society programs, or the Junior Honor Society to do tutoring. Are there other things that we do with respect to tutoring that are during the normal school year?
So I can speak to my experience as a middle school principal. The tutoring that was done in grades 6 through 8 after school was often really challenging because students had after school practices and athletics clubs that they were participating in. So the participation was inconsistent and usually pretty weak. So at the middle school level, they've they combat that by utilizing the homeroom pride time in the morning, and different schools have different processes for doing that. Teachers provide tutoring support during lunch. And the other piece that I do want to, and I recognize, our National Junior Honor Society students are amazing, and National Honor Society students are amazing in what they do. However, this tutoring program it serves students that I don't want high school students tutoring. These
Right.
students need to be taught by really highly qualified, exceptional teachers because of their present performance level. So just as a distinction there.
Yeah, I just noticed that, and I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that when I first asked it, is that these are the ones that are really struggling in the process. Do we have programs then that still continue to target those students throughout the school year?
We do, whether it's at the elementary school, our reading, our literacy interventionists and math interventionists that we have. At the middle school, we have math support classes and Read 180 reading support classes, and there are different support classes at the high school too.
So those are all really the normal things that happen in the normal school year that are identifying those opportunities or those students that are struggling and providing those extra supports.
And even in a more intense one-on-one setting, yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much. My questions really got answered before you got to me. I'm amazed at how many students participated. What is your normal participation about? Do you know?
I can't speak to the high school. The programs that we consistently run were about the same in terms of the middle school summer academy, EL Jumpstart program, and the ASD extended school year. So those numbers are about the same. I don't feel as though I can do the high school justice, but I do believe that over the past 2 years, our high school enrollment has been up from previous years. So the big difference really has been the fact that we had so many more additional programs and additional offerings.
Yeah, that's really nice to have all those offerings for the families and students. And like Member Christensen said, if we could make sure that families can get that information kind of early, I think a lot more families would want to participate. I'm assuming that we're going to keep these things going forward.
I think there's a lot of momentum for that, and there's a lot of support for it. But really, there's a lot of balls in the air just with respect to funding and staffing and things like that. So.
Sure. But thank you so much. This was amazing.
You're welcome.
I want to definitely say thank you as well. Mr. Ruella just found out he was doing this presentation. He stood in the gap for Ms. Rail this evening. He just found out this morning. So we appreciate you for delivering this presentation tonight.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Any opportunity I get to speak in front of the board, I will take it.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, next up is Finance and Operations. The first thing we have is an action item 220911, consider approval of a resolution for a change order request for emergency replacement of AC handling unit number 6 at Plymouth High School. First and final reading. I'm looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move that we have an approval for an award for the air handling unit number 6 at Plymouth High School replacement, first and final reading, action item 220911.
Looking for a second?
Second.
All right, it was moved by Member Kehoe and seconded by Member Wilson that we consider approval of the resolution. Would somebody like to discuss what this is?
Hi. This evening, if you remember correctly, on August the 10th, 2021, Board of Education, action item 220804, we recommended the emergency replacement of one train air handling unit in the amount of $118,026 under a purchasing consortium with Omnia. Upon further investigation, once train started to perform their inspections, there was an additional items found to be unrepairable, and therefore we are bringing this forward under the same purchasing consortium to increase the original award by $35,052. This will be financed again from the 2020 bond and was discussed, as Member Kehoe mentioned, at the Finance and Operations Committee meeting on September 23rd. I have Mr. Grzinski here to answer any questions that you may have.
Does anybody have any questions about this?
We talked about it extensively in F&O. It's the air handling unit that disintegrated itself, and there's a temporary unit that's been in place providing cooling since that's going on, and we're renting that unit right now. So we brought this forward as a first and final because that'll allow us to expedite the repair and stop the rental.
All right, does anybody else have anything? All right, I will call for the vote. All in favor say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Any opposed say no. All right, 5-0. Next up is action item 220912, consider approval of resolution for a change order request for repair of chiller unit at Salem High School, first and final reading. I'm looking for a motion.
Madam President, I move that we approve for approval for the award of the chiller at the Salem High School overhaul, first and final reading, action item 220912.
Looking for a second?
Second.
Was that? Oh, Member Sidhu. So it was moved by Member Kehoe and seconded by Member Sidhu. Would you like to talk about this?
Sure. On April 13th, 2021, the Board of Education met and awarded the replacement of Salem High School chiller in the amount of $114,491, action item 210458. This pricing was derived again from Sourcewell, formerly NGPA, under a purchasing consortium. When the repair parts did not come in a timely fashion, but when work finally began, another component was in need of repair, and this component was not in the original bid. So we're asking for an increase to the original award at the tune of $29,755.23. Again, this was discussed at the Finance and Operations Committee meeting last week on September 23rd, and will be funded from the general fund operations budget due to its repair and not a complete replacement.
Does
Again,
anybody,
well, Mr. Grzinski is here for detailed questions.
does anybody have any questions?
Much like the previous one, we wanted to bring this forward as first and final because this unit's been out of service since April.
Certainly. Anybody else? All right, I will call for the vote. All in favor say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Any opposed say no. 5-0. Thank you very much. All right, we are now on to letter E, which is citizens' comments. So I have 3 cards. Let me get my. Lost my document. All right, you have 3 minutes. The timer will be up behind you. When your name is called, step up to the microphone, say your name, and begin speaking. You will see the timer. When the buzzer goes off, please wrap up your comments. First one I have is Jamie Coons.
Good evening. My name is Jamie Coons. I am speaking tonight as a concerned citizen. I, along with many, are concerned with the crosswalk at the intersection of Sheldon, Hartsaw, and Brookside Road. Since Wayne County has jurisdiction over this intersection, I have been in contact with Wayne County since June of 2021, and also the Plymouth Township Fire Lieutenant and Police Chief. After going back and forth with Wayne County, they specifically stated, and I quote, "A formal request from the school district superintendent would be required to consider establishing this crossing as a school speed zone. As per the law, the school speed limit would only be in effect for 30 minutes before school starts and 30 minutes after it ends. A school speed zone will impact the new school crossing signs. Wayne County will wait for further communication from the school district before installing the new school crossing signs. What I am asking is for this to be done." These are some of the concerns we have as a community. This is a statement from my neighbor who could not be here tonight, and I quote, "Though we couldn't be here tonight, we wanted to share our firsthand experience with the intersection at Sheldon and Brookside Road. We live on the northwest corner of the intersection, so we see a lot that goes on throughout the day. We have lived in our house for 5 years and have never seen as many accidents and speeding as we had in the last 6 months. It has gotten to the point that we want to watch our 12 and 15-year-olds cross the road." In March of this year, a woman drove off Sheldon Road into our garage. She was going fast enough to damage our garage brick exterior and a car inside it. Though we were unsure what caused her to drive off the road, it was the beginning of several instances in this intersection. About 3 months later, we were in our home and heard a woman screaming. We ran outside to see what was going on. My son yelled that a man was hit while crossing the road. He was horrified. The woman who had hit him was screaming. We were all shook up from this incident for a long time and imagined it could have been any one of us. Only a few months later, another incident occurred when someone drove off the road and into the lawn of the home on the northeast corner of the intersection. We couldn't believe another accident occurred. Whether it be more signage or a decreased speed limit, we feel something needs to be done. The intersection doesn't feel safe as it should. Jane and Jason Ludwig. This is a 5-lane road at 40 miles an hour with a light that people often disregard or they're not ready for. Our children cross at this crosswalk. It is a very dangerous crosswalk, and I would appreciate your help in extending the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit and better signage showing the intersection ahead, and also signs more tailored to school crossings. Thank you for your time and listening to our concerns. I hope we can get this approved and move forward.
Thank you. Next up is Kasim Mawari, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much. Next up is Lucy Jansen, sorry. Thank you. I do not have any more citizen comment forms. Did anybody else want to make a comment? All right. So we are on to F, which is discussion. Future agenda topics. Does anybody have a future agenda topic they would like to bring up?
Madam Chair, I'd like to, President, I'd like to recommend that we put the agenda topic of holidays and schedules on a future agenda to address the young man's concerns.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have anything else?
Not particularly an agenda topic for a board meeting, but I would like to bring up under our discussion the MASB Annual Leadership Conference that's happening in November. Just want to remind everyone, including Superintendent Merritt, that there are virtual and face-to-face options for November 11 through 14, and they have a great lineup of speakers. I would encourage everyone to attend. We will also need to discuss the delegate assembly participation because that can only happen face-to-face for the voting. So perhaps at the next meeting, we can have that as a discussion item.
Yes. Is that generally on, that's generally the evening?
The Thursday evening before the
Thursday
conference,
evening.
right.
What's the date of that?
I'm
Do
sorry.
you know what the date specifically that we have to be there?
Yes. You will need to be there November 11th to participate in the delegate assembly, which happens at 6 p.m.
Do you remember where it is this year?
It is in Grand Rapids, and by the way, I will be there already for being part of the Michigan Association of School Board Board of Directors. So I will be there. I'm not sure who else is willing to go there, but it is Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Thank you. I would marginally like to go, but our sub situation is not good. It would mean my colleagues were watching my class for 2 days. Does not go over well. So does anybody have anything else?
Just a question on the
Okay.
intersection question that came up in citizen comment. It didn't sound like that was a board function. It sounded like they were requesting a letter from the superintendent. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate. That has actually already taken place. We actually sent our initial letter April the 30th, 2019, but we followed up with a letter to Beverly Watts from Wayne County on September the 27th requesting this traffic safety improvement that's district-wide. We sent also on September 27th a letter to Eric Lentz from Wayne County requesting the school zone additions and improvements. But we have been sending these. There are some upcoming meetings that are scheduled to address this from various representatives from our local Canton and Plymouth, as well as Wayne County. And so hopefully we will see some progress in that area.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, the next is follow-up board questions. And at our last meeting, the questions we had were, Member Kehoe requested additional custodial updates be provided at the next F&O meeting from ABM Industries. I believe that happened.
Yes, and it'll happen again next F&O.
Okay. So, and then Member Sidhu requested an update on the status of the ECF funding when approved regarding technology purchases. And you
Board notes.
got that in board notes. So those were the questions. And then, did you want more information on whether or not students can do the credit recovery during the year?
No,
Or
I
were you
think that
satisfied?
he explained it, and I think
Okay.
that there sounds like there's a program that's in place for it. He may not have been aware of the details, but Mr. Blaylock and Mr. Hurd are, so that's good.
Okay. And did anybody else have a question for tonight that they needed to have addressed?
I believe you had asked a question about summer school or summer program enrollment prior to
Oh, yes.
this past summer, just for comparison. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good one for follow-up.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know just how many students.
Yeah.
How many we've traditionally had participating as opposed to this year.
Yep.
Does anybody have anything else for tonight? All right, we have come to the end of our agenda. So we will adjourn. It is 8:23. Thank you.